The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
The world-famous Butch and Bob Show.
And good morning to you. You're listening to the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Butch over here with you along Bob Morgan on this 6th day of August, Tuesday morning. Appreciate you waking up and tuning in to Big Dog Country 105.5 FM WIFO. It is now time for the show, brought to you by Nips Car Wash on Highway 301 South in Jesup, just past McDonald's on the left-hand side, by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup, and by Sacheros, located right there in the Piggly Wiggly Shopping Center on West Cherry Street in Jesup. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
All right. Well, we've got several guests this morning here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. And, Bob, go ahead and introduce our first guest this morning.
Well, it's a busy week for the school system. Open house is set for today, so we've got Reggie Birch with the front office with us. And, Reggie, tell us what all you want to tell us.
All right. I just wanted to give everybody some back-to-school information to make sure everybody understands what's going on with the school system these next few days. Is a real busy time. I'm going to ask you guys a question. On the bus ride to and from school, what do you think's the most? When do you think children are at the most risk of being injured or killed on a school bus?
Getting off.
Either on or off.
Yeah.
That's correct. Either on or off the bus during loading or unloading. The bus drivers had a meeting this past week, and I have a CDL license also, so I went to that meeting, and they were sharing some information with us. It's kind of disturbing. Back in the early 2000s, Georgia actually led the nation in the number of students killed while loading or unloading a school bus, and that was for several years in a row. So transportation leaders from across the state got together, and they worked out a wonderful plan. So from 2014 to 2018, not a single child in Georgia was killed loading or unloading on a school bus. But last year there was one student in Georgia who was killed, and it was killed by a vehicle who passed a stopped school bus. The arm was out, the stop sign was extended, the lights were flashing, but a bus went around a stopped school bus, or a vehicle rather, a car went around a stopped school bus and struck a child and killed him. So we just want to make sure that all of our drivers here in Wayne County are slowing down, watching for these buses. The first few days of schools are going to be really packed with traffic as parents are trying to get down their routines, and we just want to make sure the drivers slow down, watch for the kids, never ever pass a school bus that's stopped to load or unload. And if anybody has any questions about the rules of the road when it comes to buses like that, please call our transportation office. They can set you straight on that.
Okay. You think with all the things you just mentioned on a school bus, all the safety, you got the flashing lights in the back, you've got the strobe light on the top, you've got the arm that swings way out. You know it's there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't miss it.
Right, and it's bright yellow.
Yeah, and the bus is yellow. I mean, it just how someone can go around one like that. It's hard to understand.
Mm-hmm. We saw one video of a student who got off the bus and went to get off the bus, and a vehicle passed it on the right side, which means it went off, and it actually went around
on the edge of the road.
On the edge of the road, and almost hit the child. The child went around the front of the bus and was going to cross the road, and another vehicle come and almost hit it. So the child missed getting hit twice within seconds. It was amazing.
Well, Bob and I've talked about this. Just people think the few seconds they're going to save by putting people in harm, by speeding, doing stuff like that is just going to change their lives. Just those few seconds or minutes, but really what you're doing is you're putting other people's life at risk when you're speeding like that or going around buses and things of that sort.
Exactly. They see it on one day last year, and I think it was maybe in April of last year. They polled the bus drivers from across the state, and there were 8,000 vehicles that passed a stopped school bus in one day.
Wow.
Across the state of Georgia. So that's just amazing. But like I said, traffic's going to be congested. Just slow down and don't be impatient. Also want to remind folks, Bay Acres Road is going to be closed, or it is closed, and we don't have a timeline for when that's going to reopen. So just especially for the parents and students over at Martha Puckett and the high school, they need to be aware of that and take those alternate routes.
Now, Bay Acres, you're talking about from Arm Street there, from Jesup Church of God, all the way down to whatever the name of that road is that goes toward the technical school there, right?
Tech Drive.
Tech Drive. Yes. Okay, so it's closed in that area. So you cannot turn left at Jesup Church of God and expect to go to Tech Drive and turn into Martha Puckett, or to go to the high school, that you're going to have to go around. Now, you can go down Tech Drive all the way to the road that goes over to Martha Puckett, right?
Coming off 341, right?
Off 341. You just cannot take that Bay Acres Road from Jesup Church of God to Tech Drive.
Right.
That what, about 400 yards, somewhere along in there?
That's correct.
Okay. So, are they understand there's a situation there with the with the sewer type, not the drain system up under the road. Is that it?
Right. It's all shoulder work they're doing.
Yeah, they're all doing shoulder work right now, because if you did drive through there before, you kind of bounced up and down. So I guess they're trying to get that all straightened out, and it should be opened up, I guess, in the next few weeks, right?
We hope so. They haven't given us any timeline at all.
It's just doing some work on that Bay Acres Road. Okay.
Right. An open house is today. Teachers are excited. They've been working hard in their classrooms to get ready. Want to make sure everyone knows the times. There's been a lot of speculation on the times. Some misinformation got out on social media, and that got spread around. But it's 3:30 to 6 at all the schools. So the schools will open up at 3:30. I think the high school may open up just a few minutes early because those freshmen will already be in the building. But generally speaking, it's 3:30 to 6, not 3:30 to 6:30, as some folks had said originally in social media. So we want to make sure that. And we're gonna try.
You mean to tell me the social media was wrong?
Just this once.
Just this once.
But at 6 o'clock, we want to really try to shut it down. I know from my time at Arthur Williams, we have parents who come in. They come in at 5:59 and they want to stay another 30 minminutes. But these teachers and administrators have been working all day and all. They're ready to go home. So we're going to try. We're going
6 o'clock.
Yeah, they want to go see their families. 3:30 to 6. Dr. McDaniel also asked me to mention the senior parade. Every year, the seniors they congregate. I think it's at Burger King this year.
Burger King, yeah.
And they're gonna have a parade to the high school. And so if any parents want to come and see that parade, see the kids come in the building, Dr. McDaniel asked them to be at the school by 7:55 so they can be there as the students are coming in.
Yeah, they gather at Burger King, and then they come down Highway 84 here until Joy Williamson Road, take a right, and go down Joy Williamson to the high school. So, between 7:30 to 8 o'clock, there's going to be a lot of seniors there. They're going to be honking the horns. They're going to have signs. They're going to be taking their time. So if I was you, I'd either get there way before then or go take another route.
Right.
If you get caught in that, you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. You're just going to take your time.
Right. That's correct. Just a couple other things we want to make sure. We don't have a lot of students who move in and out of our county, but we do have a lot who move around the county. And sometimes on the first day of school, kids will show up and they'll think they're at the correct school, but when they've moved, they didn't take into account moving across zoning lines. So if you've moved over the summer and think you may attend a different school zone, please, if at all possible, don't wait until the first day of school to go to and try to get that fixed, because the computer operators are they're going to be super busy. They're going to be handling new enrollees that come in, and those ladies do a fantastic job. They get really swamped on those first few days of school. So if you can go by today or tomorrow and take proof of residency, which could be anything like a utility bill, a gas or water, electric or cable bill, landline phone bill, a rent or lease agreement, anything like that, then you can show proof of address and they can get you zoned in the correct place before school starts, and that way they can have a schedule for your child on day one.
Okay.
What
else, Reggie?
The parent-student handbooks will go home with students as usual on the first day of school. There's a signature page in the back of that. We ask parents and students to make sure they read that handbook and sign it, because every year something happens and a child may do something and get in trouble, and the parent says, "Well, I didn't know that wasn't allowed." Well, it's in the handbook. So if they'll read over that and sign that and send it back, we'd appreciate it.
So they've got to sign the book and then send it back.
Well, there's that last page, the signature page.
Just the last page they send back, the parents do.
That's correct. They get to keep the book. And free and reduced lunch forms. Some parents don't really realize the importance of these forms, and they think, well, their child might not qualify for free and reduced lunch. Even if that's the case, please fill that back out, because significant funding is tied to those forms, and the more than we can get back, the more funding we can get to our school system to help our kids. Those things like our free summer feeding program, that's all tied to our free and reduced lunch forms. So it's really vital that we get those back. And then finally, we're having this Friday night a community pet rally that's been advertised and been talked about quite a bit. We just want to remind folks about that. It's called Meet the Jackets. They're going to begin tailgating at 4 p.m., have the jacket walk at 6:15 like we do before a home football game. And all the fall sports teams, the bands, the majorettes, flag and dance lines, they're going to be all recognized. There will be some vendors there. The booster clubs will be there. And it's going to be a great time just to get out and meet all the students. And I'm glad to see that we're recognizing all the kids. They all deserve to be recognized. And, it's football season. Football's our big sport here in Wayne County, and everybody loves football, fall Fridays. But it's great that we can recognize students who don't get as much recognition, like our cross-country team or softball team, something like that.
Okay. All right. Lots going on. School starting on Thursday. Open house today for the Wayne County schools from 3:30 to 6.
That's correct.
Reggie this morning before he heads on out of here?
Nope.
Reggie, we appreciate you coming in, and good luck with the 2019-2020 school year.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO. We got more guests out there in the green room, and we'll have them on in just a minute here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. You're listening to WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country.
South Georgia weather.
Here's your WIFO forecast. Hi, good morning. Early clouds, some patchy fog, hazy, muggy, becoming more partly sunny. 30% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms, low 90s. Tonight, partly cloudy. 30% chance of evening showers and thunderstorms, low 70s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. A 30% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms, low 90s. Thursday, mostly sunny. 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Georgia meteorologist John Weatherby in the GNN Weather Center.
If your child bikes to school, make sure they wear a helmet that meets the safety standards. Research indicates that a helmet can reduce the risk of a head injury by up to 85%. The Governor's Office of Highway Safety reminds you to watch for bicycles, motorcycles, and pedestrians. Buckle up and drive with care.
This back-to-school safety message is brought to you by Jesup Tire Shop, Morton Collision Center, Bargeman's ATV, First Franklin Financial, Interstate Credit Union, Western Sizzlin', and Corson's Carpet and Flooring.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO. We continue on with the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on Big Dog Country Radio, 10 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. It is the 6th day of August, and in the studio with us right now is Danny Merritt. Danny, you're new to the Butch and Bob Show.
I am. Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
And where are you from, Danny?
I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I live on Wilmington Island.
Wilmington Island. And you're here. Y'all requested time. Danny Merritt is here. And you're a candidate for an office. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you are running for what position?
I'm running for Congress as a Republican for Georgia's 1st District.
So that means you would be running against our incumbent, Betty Carter. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Well, what got you to decide to run against our current incumbent, Betty Carter? Why did you decide to run, Danny?
That's a great question. I'm an Army officer. I've got 2 combat deployments, one to Iraq, one to Afghanistan, and I've been talking about getting more veterans to run for office for quite some time now. I'm also a business owner. I own 9 Line Apparel with my brother Tyler, and also own a Southern Lifestyle company. And what I wanted to see was more regular folks, more business owners, more entrepreneurs, more veterans running for Congress. And I was talking, and then I decided, I'm going to do it myself. I'm fearful of what I see in the Republican Party right this second. And we need to grow the Republican Party. It's the party of, equal opportunity, unlike the Democrats, equal outcome. So I think that I'm going to be the man for the job in order to grow this Republican Party and to lead Georgia's 1st District and to actually make some effective change in Washington, D.C.
And did you decide to run just because you think that you're talking about more veterans? And Buddy Carter is a business owner, so do you have some issues with the way that Buddy is doing his job and voting on certain issues, or is it just that you decided you want to put a second choice out there for the voters?
I want to put a different choice out there for the voters. I think competition is great in business, and I think it's even better in politics. Keeps folks on their toes. I think I would be the better candidate for effective change in Washington, D.C. There's some issues that, we've been hearing a lot of talk. We have not seen a whole lot of change here in Georgia's 1st District, and that's the same across the entire United States. Congress, we need to shake it up the same way that our president has shaken up politics in D.C. We need Congress to do the same, and I think I'm going to be able to do that.
Okay. Bob, questions, comments for Danny?
This kind of office takes funding, and the Republican Party is backing Buddy Carter. So how do you plan to raise funding to be able to have a campaign to beat an incumbent such as Buddy Carter?
Sure. Funding is important. I think we're going to be able to raise between $750,000 to $1 million before this campaign's over with. I think that's plenty of money in order to win the seat. But I think more importantly than raising money, and I think we're going to find this out, and I'm hoping to lead by example here. This is about getting votes. This is about winning a primary. This is about traveling around the district, connecting with folks, listening, and finding out what's important to them, and to let them know that there's a candidate out there that wants to be the kind of politician that spends most of his time in district. So yes, it's going to come down to raising money. Luckily for me, I own 2 pretty successful companies, and I'll spend this entire year doing nothing except traveling around and talking to great folks like you guys, and having a lot of breakfast, lunches, and dinners, and packing on some pounds, and it's going to be a great race.
Danny Merritt in here this morning, candidate for first congressional district. If you run against incumbent Buddy Carter, Bob, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying it's just unusual that, an incumbent such as Buddy Carter had the opposition on his own party. So that's the curious thing. Like Butch said, is there anything Buddy Carter's doing or not doing that you disagree with?
I think that there's, again, I'm not running specifically against Buddy Carter. What I'm
Well, you're running on the same party ticket. So when you go to the voting booth, you'll be on there with Buddy Carter.
Correct. Well, I guess
you're running against Buddy Carter. That's who you're running against. So that's the question. Why is somebody in his own party running against Buddy Carter? Is there something that he's doing in the party that you don't like?
Sure. There's several reasons then I'm running against Buddy Carter. Number one, like I was saying before, is I'm concerned about the Republican Party in general. I go to a lot of these meetings, and the Republican Party is, it's hurting. We need to bring more folks into this Republican Party. We need to grow this party, or it's going to be non-existent. And I don't see Buddy Carter doing that. In Georgia's 1st District alone, there's an issue in terms of organization of the Republican Party.
How do you grow? The Republican Party in the southeast or in the South Georgia, or actually all Georgia, especially South Georgia, has a pretty big base there. But how do you bring in more folks that are not Republicans?
And I think new leadership certainly would help. I think growing the party a priority for Georgia's 1st District, I think that's going to be a problem. Or it is a problem currently. I think it's something that needs to be worked on. So, anything that you make a priority, you're going to affect change in. What I believe we've seen is, I think we've seen a lot of lip service, and that's not just in Georgia's 1st District. That's across the entire United States. But I also think that we need to really support our president. We need to do things like get the wall built, and that's something else that I've seen. We're lacking. We're not supporting our president the way that we need to. The establishment has not been our president's friend, and that's something that he certainly will have in me.
Okay.
You mentioned you're a veteran. As Buddy Carter, he, from what we know, supports the veterans, supports the militaries. Is he doing something that does not represent them? I'm just trying to find out why you're running on the same party ticket as an incumbent, Buddy Carter. But I'm just trying to see if there's. It's just puzzling to me that he has opposition in his own party. And that's
I don't know. The reason why Bob and I are saying this, we worked with Jack Kingston for all those years.
Sure.
And I don't remember ever a time a Republican running against Jack Kingston
it just seems
for all those years, and we've never had a Republican run against Buddy Carter. So this is an unusual situation.
Sure.
That's the reason why we're asking you all these questions. We've had the Democrats that have run against Jack Kingston for those, 12, 15, 16 years that he was in there. Every 2 years, and of course Buddy's been in there for about a decade now. So we're just wondering.
That was somebody ran on term limits. What are you saying on term limits?
Sure.
So we're just. Okay.
Let me see if I can.
That's the reason why we're asking this question, because we haven't seen it since 1992. You're the first one, so that's the reason why we're asking.
Okay, let me see if I can button it up for you all then. So, when we had the House and the Senate and the White House, the approval rating for Congress was 17%. We keep on and we continue to elect the same type of individuals over and over and over again, and then we ask ourselves and we're puzzled why nothing gets done in Congress. So what I'm offering is to shake up this district, to grow this party, and to do what I've been doing in the military for the last 17 years, and that's put everybody else before me, because that's what I'm good at. I'm good at growing businesses. I'm good at creating jobs. I'm good at organizing, and I think that I'm going to be able to do that better for Georgia's 1st District. So that's the reason that I'm running against Buddy Carter. However, I'm I'm creating competition. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay. So that's what we're trying to clarify to folks, so you can kind of hone in your position on there.
Specific
so people know
issues.
what Danny Merritt is all about.
You asked again about specific issues. So one specific issue that hits me hard is veteran issues. We have the first pharmacist in Congress, right? We have 22 service members that kill themselves every single day. The VA is a nightmare. There is no communication between the local VA and Charleston. We have veterans who are going to the VA on a daily basis trying to get help for substance abuse. They're getting none. They're walking out of there. There are some serious bipartisan issues, specifically in the VA, that can be tackled, that should have been tackled, many, many years ago. And it's not happening. And it's certainly not happening fast enough for me.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, this has been talked about since the Bush days, and then all through Obama, and now with Trump. Everybody talks about the veteran problems. I know President Bush talked about it. I know President Obama talked about it. I know President Trump has talked about it. There's always been this, we're going to fix the problem. Every president's promised it. Every candidate's promised it. Every incumbent has promised it. But for some reason, and you talk to veterans, it's still that bureaucratic nightmare that they have to go through to get medical care.
Right.
And, what the solution is, because you've got to have all the parties working together. You got to have the Congress, you got to have the representatives, you got to have the Senate, you got to have the Veterans Administration, you got to have the president. And they all can't seem to get on the doggone same page and get it taken care of.
Well, because we keep on electing the same type of individuals over and over again. I mean, you guys are talking about, making some change. 2 congressmen ago, Jack Kingston's now a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. I mean, this is the problem that we're running into. You do 27 years in Congress, and then you're a lobbyist. And that's the cycle. So it's time to break that cycle.
It's a large district, so how's your campaign going? Have you been to all the counties, and you have people in each county?
We've been to about half the county so far. It's been awesome. There's been just a tremendous amount of support for me in this campaign, and it's really awesome to be able to travel around and talk to so many folks. And the first part of this campaign is for me the most important part. It's more of a listening campaign. It's more kind of understanding, where people sit depending on where you are in the district, what's important to them. I don't pretend to have the solution to every single problem. I certainly have issues that I want to tackle, but again, I'm the representation of the district, not just Danny Merritt. So right now is a big part of, traveling around and understanding what is important, so I can kind of start to prioritize how to tackle each issue, and what's going to be the priority once I win the seat.
The main issue right now, of course, we just had experienced those 2 mass shootings that took place. It seems to be a common occurrence in the United States, and nothing getting done. Nothing gets done. I mean, we just see it, and people suffer, and there's no solution. So if you get into Congress, you have any ideas how you would tackle that problem?
I can tell you that there seems to be what I would consider selective outrage when it comes to gun violence in America. If you look at this last 2 incidents, immediately it becomes a political issue, and they're jumping on black guns, and they're jumping on assault rifles. When 80% of all homicides are committed with handguns. The same week in Chicago, I think 126 people were shot. These type of mass shootings happen in low-income neighborhoods on a regular basis, and I think that we need to really tackle the issue that's going to actually solve the problem. Bringing back, the importance of family, bringing back the importance of having, morals. I don't think that there's a way to legislate gun violence out of the equation by banning certain types of firearms. I don't think by taking away rights from law-abiding citizens like yourself and myself is going to solve the gun violence issue. So it's something that is very important to many of us. I just think that we're looking at it through the wrong lens currently.
What about background checks or red flag? Is there anything that can be passed that would help?
I think background checks are currently something that we're doing. I know that there's people talk about the gun show loopholes. the problem is when we're trying to fix or improve upon the background check legislation, the Democrats just pushed it too far. They pushed it too far left, where it was going to make it a felony to hand down a firearm to your own child, and that's really the problem. There are common sense solutions. We just got to make it happen. Red flag law, I'm not an expert on it, but I don't think it's going to change the game too much.
Well, you take a look at the background checks on these individuals who do these mass shootings, and there are flags there. You can take a look at one of those guys. He had a hit list, he had a rape list, he had all kinds of stuff going on there, and they seem to express themselves on their social media explicitly before they actually go out there and do the act. So there are some red flags there. It's just that sometimes, there's so much out there on social media.
Sure.
What do you take as a person who's just ranting and raving, who a person is actually just going to go out and do something? It's hard to say, all right, this guy's going to do it or this guy's not going to do it.
And again, we live in the United States of America. At what point, what constitutes a red flag? If you're having a bad day and you just got canned and you go on, Facebook and start saying some ugly stuff, does that constitute us coming to your house, confiscating your weapons and taking away your Second Amendment? It's just one of them things. It's a slippery slope. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in our Second Amendment, and I think that there are common sense things that we can do to keep folks safe. I just don't want to trample on America's, constitutional rights at the same time.
You mentioned where you live, but I don't think we had a chance to ask you about your family, where you grew up. You talked about your military service. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and
Sure.
Where you grew up, your family, things like that.
I appreciate that. I have been blessed. I have 4 beautiful children. I have 2 girls, Charlie, who's 1 year old, Danny, who's named after her dad, who's 4 years old. I have a son named Jack, who's 6, and a son named Levi, who's 11. I have a beautiful wife named Sarah. I've been bouncing around the entire world since I was 17 years old. I've been in the Army since I was 18 years old. I've lived in Germany. I've been at the 10th Mountain Division for my first deployment to Iraq. I was at the 1st Cav Division for my first deployment to Afghanistan. I was a kid who had a hard time and barely made it through high school. And, through the Army, I have, gone from a private to a field grade Army officer. I'm a major. And the Army's put me through my bachelor and my master's degree. And ended up here in Savannah, Georgia, and have grown a few businesses here, and just really, really, really fortunate and blessed to call Georgia home.
You retired from the Army?
No, I'm still in.
You're still active in the Army?
I'm an Army Reserve officer. I did about 10 years active, and I have about 7 years now in the Army Reserve. So I will stay in until they tell me I got to go.
Okay. Now, how long have you been thinking, Danny Merritt with us right now, running for the 1st Congressional District for this area against incumbent Buddy Carter, Republican ticket. How long have you been thinking about running for office?
I've thought about it for well over a year. I've been talking about other veterans needing to run for office for much longer. It was just about a year ago. I really through many different people have asked me if I would consider jumping in the ring, and I never really considered doing it until about a year ago.
Okay.
If I understand, there's another candidate on the Republican ticket as well, right? That's what I hear.
I have heard rumors,
but
I haven't. Nothing's official as of now.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming in. It's nice to
Anything
meet
else
you.
that you'd like to add?
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate the opportunity. If folks are interested in checking me out and want to come to my website, I'd appreciate any support. It's meritforcongress.com.
Meritforcongress.com.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. MERRITT for Congress.com. And also, I do a live. I go live on Facebook once a week and talk about current issues here in Georgia and also national issues. We've had a huge following on my Facebook page, which is, again, Merit for Congress.
Do you think there'll be a debate set up before long between the candidates?
I've been pushing and pushing and pushing, and I finally got my wish. So yeah, there will be a debate coming up. I don't have a specific date, but there absolutely is going to be a debate between Buddy Carter and myself.
Okay. All right. Danny Merritt in here. Danny, we appreciate you stopping by here on the world famous Butch and Bob Show. I'm sure that you'll be passing through Jesup a lot between now and is it next March, May?
May is the primary.
May is the primary.
Yes, sir.
May's the primary, and so it's a big district. I know you got a lot of miles to travel, and safe travels out there as you run for Congress.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, Bob. Anything else?
Hopefully, we'll see you again.
Thank you,
All
Bob.
right,
Appreciate
take
it.
care. All right. WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. The time now is 8:29. Coming up in just a moment here on the Big Dog, we're going to have the latest news from Fox News Radio. World famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Nips Car Wash, located on Highway 301 South, just past McDonald's on the left-hand side. Also brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup, right down from the Big Red Caboose, and by Sachero's Restaurant.
The world famous Butch and Bob Show.